Hello, my name is John Russell Furness. Today I will be covering the book 1984 by George Orwell. I made my own recreated version of London where Winston lived himself while he was in the party. I decided to use Minecraft just to be able to show the image that I had as I read the novel of the city itself, where he lived, what the what specifically Ministry of Love looked like, and other scenes where significant um, parts of the novel occurred. All right, so let's get right on it. I haven't really played Minecraft that much, but I'll do the best of my capabilities to show you what I've made through what Minecraft has for its sandbox capabilities. So as dystopian literature goes, the recreated city, try to show an image of pretty much how the party has overwhelming sovereignty over its people. I'm gonna cover first the rooms that the outer party members had, even specifically Winston's. So as you can see in these rooms, they're actually all pretty similar with one another. That just pretty much just shows how there's no one in the society that the party is associated with. No one has their own individual characteristics. Everyone will have the same things, same per se uniforms, same rooms, whatever it may be. So with that in mind, it just pretty much shows how much power the party has over the people, almost having complete control, because no one can have their own things. They're always being regulated. So I'll just be using this room as an example for Winston's room. You can see the desk is completely out of the view of the telescreen within the black box to the left. And you can see bookshelves that I use that to use as the shelves for the newspeak dictionaries. So here we have the dictionary. We have his entries of his diary where he says down big brother, like pretty much 5 times, and then to the future or to the past, to a time when thought is free, when men are different from one another and do not live alone, to a time when truth exists and what is done cannot be undone. So you can see how his thoughts are changing. Thought crime does not until death. Thought crime is death. Several more entries from him. If there is hope, it lies in the pearls. Until they become conscious, they will never rebel, and until after they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious. So you can see just how much Winston looks upon the pearls, because he realizes the power that they have, and they're not using it to its full potential against a party that's oppressing them quite harshly. So that's pretty much just Winston's room, overall look of how the parties lives look like within these rooms. Pretty much just small and concise. So we'll be moving on to the next thing, which is the forest, where everything started for Winston. Not everything, but pretty much the major turn for his rebellion, where he finally officially committed a crime with Julia and just pretty much just eloped with her, which is a sin for the party. And here you can see the Pearl community. It's actually in view of Winston's room, or even just the rooms that the outer members have. So the Pearls are pretty much just always in view for them. Next up is Mr. Charrington's shop, and we'll be looking at the rooms above, where Winston and Julia, pretty much asked for a room in order to continue their affair in secret. So the rooms, this is the point of the novel where Winston is realizing much more how messed up their society is, and he's kind of questioning himself whether he's sane or not. Um, so we already know by the end of the book, spoiler alert, that this room has actually been um, surveilled by the party, where you can see the black screen. I'm kind of using the black box as like the telescreen, and then I'm kind of using the top painting as a picture, kind of, for the house that they dreamed of, or at least what Julia and Winston use as like a form of, I guess, hope for the future. And then there you could look at the pro communities, and then pretty much just watching their moves, and you see Winston admiring that one pro, and he looked at, just admire them in general. And not only that, this is also the place where Winston started reading the book that he received from O'Brien, which was actually the book from Emmanuel Goldstein, the leader of the rebellion against the Big Brother. So here's the book, The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism. Sorry for my pronunciation, but here we can see the aims of the low, middle, and high, pretty much the different levels of status and why the low is staying within the low, and it shows also like the perspectives of party members themselves. Party member lives from birth to death under the eye of the thought police, basically always constant surveillance, and then they have no private emotions and no respites from enthusiasm. And then second, we have the double think, meaning the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting them both. And we can see that at the end of the novel, where O'Brien uses that against Winston whenever he was torturing and interrogating him, basically trying to make him quote-unquote sane within the standards of the party. So after going through the room above Mr. Charrington's shop, I kind of made the center of this city as pretty much a rallying point for the party members for their hate activities, where they would, start basically their speeches for the authorities, maybe even public humiliations, or even at this point executions. So I'm kind of lame. Oh, there's a kid. I didn't mean for that to happen, but so pretty much here you can see there's pretty much just no mercy for those who goes against the party, and they kind of have no way out other than just to let fate take their lives away from them once they choose to, think differently from the party or opposed to them. So the objective of the rallying point is pretty much just keep flooding the members with just hate activities, making sure that they're always supportive of the motives and goals of the party, always stimulating their hate towards the enemies of Oceania. So next thing that we're going to cover is the Ministry of Love. So Ministry of Love was defined as something that Winston couldn't get close to at all. It was covered with barbed wire, and therefore I built that barbed fence actually. And then here you can see the prison cells that I recreated, just my image of what Ministry of Love could have. And there you have the head, and then the frame pretty much acting as maybe even telescreens, and then you can see that it's a one-way door, so, and it can only be opened from the outside, so prisoners obviously can't go outside, they're locked in there. And this is pretty much like the most cruel place that you could find in Oceania, where if you choose to oppose them, you'll be stuck in this place, and you'll be sent in this place where they conduct where they regulate law, different types of laws, and order. So the first 3 floors are pretty much just the same thing, prisons, and then you have like perception whether you're gonna be processed in or not, depending on how heavy your crimes are. Now going straight to the most important place is basically where Winston went to in book 3. So here is pretty much just where he's waiting, the black screen again, telescreen, being constantly watched, waiting for your turn to be rehabilitated. So here you have the room where O'Brien pretty much just tortured him, electrocuted him. So here you can see the lever, whether if it's on, it will turn on the light saying that, hey, the guy's being electrocuted in that platform right there. And right next to it will actually be the room that's actually infamous, which is the room 101. So it's a little bit different from how I wanted it to go, but here's a cage of a rabbit. Minecraft couldn't spawn rats, so I had no choice but to adjust to a black rabbit, which kind of looks like a black rat from afar. So just trying to put it back in from the cage. But this is basically the scene where O'Brien finally got hold of Winston through his massive phobia of rats and just forced him to basically give up his will in order to follow the party's goals and will, and had no choice but to surrender. And this pretty much just shows that if you have a hold of someone's fear, you can change them however you want to, make them not sane anymore, but in the party's terms, they're sane. So definitely different perspectives in that. Definitely in our society today, they'll definitely be seen as insane, because there's no more rational thinking. Oh, crazy that is. But yeah, so this is room 101, and that's pretty much how I imagine it to be. It's very enclosed. There's no windows. You're just trapped there with you on the platform and your biggest fear, and then there's O'Brien where I would be standing. So that's my tour of my version of London in 1984, kind of how I perceived it. There's actually different ministries, so you can see the Ministry of Peace, Ministry of Plenty, and Ministry of Truth, basically where Winston worked at. And yeah, that's dystopian literature for you. It's pretty much there's a sense of morbidity to it based on how these guys are getting controlled. There's almost everything is almost the same for the members. There's no creativeness, there's no uniqueness. Everyone's just the same. It's always yeah, that's the end of this clip. Thank you very much for hanging. So creating this recreated city has actually been a great fun ride, basically. 1984 was a great book. Definitely read it if you can. That's about it. Have a great day.